Okay? So, case 3 tayo. Integrand contains square root of u squared minus a squared. So, ang ating substitution, u equals a secant of theta. So, ito yung ating solution 1 para sa ating example sa case na ito. So, ating problem, integral of dx divided by 4x squared minus 81 raised to 3 halves. Okay? So, ito yung ating problem, no? So, integral of dx divided by 4x squared minus 81 raised to 3 halves. So, ito ay equal din sa... So, meron tayong integral sign. Meron tayong dx. And then, division line. And then, yung 4x squared minus 81 raised to 3 halves, ay equal din siya sa square root of. So, yung 4x squared, equal din siya sa 2x quantity squared. Minus, yung 81 naman, equal din siya sa 9 squared. 9 squared. And then, raised to 3. Raised to 3. Okay? So, ang ibig sabihin ng square root ay raised to 1 half. So, times 3 is 3 halves. So, dito, we can say that square root of 2x squared minus 9 squared takes the form of square root of u squared minus a squared. Kaya siya case number 3. The integrand contains square root of u squared minus a squared. So, ang ating substitution ay u equals a secant of theta. So, gamit na tayo ng substitution. So, let u equals a secant of theta. A secant of theta. So, yung u natin ay yung 2x. So, 2x equals, our a is 9. So, 9 secant of theta. Kaya rin nun, kukuha tayo ng derivative both sides. So, ang derivative ng 2x ay 2 dx. Ang derivative naman ng 9 secant theta ay 9 secant of theta tangent of theta d theta. Kaya rin nun, solve natin yung dx. So, we divide both sides by 2. So, dx equals 9 over 2. And then, secant of theta tangent of theta d theta. Okay. So, yung dx, papalitan natin siya ng 9 over 2 secant of theta tangent of theta d theta. So, meron tayong division line. By the way, unahin muna natin yung integral sign, Integral sign. Tapos, division line, And then, yung dx equals siya sa 9 over 2. So, 9 over 2. And then, secant theta, tangent theta, d theta. So, secant theta, tangent theta, d theta. And then we have square root. Square root of 2x. But 2x is 9 secant of theta. So, 9 secant of theta. 9 secant of theta. Raised to 2. Raised to 2. So, we have raised to 2. And then minus. Now, 9 squared, yun yung ating 81. 81. Okay. And then raised to 3. So raised to 3. So I will have, so meron tayong integral sign. And then we have 9 secant theta tangent theta d theta. So 9 secant theta tangent theta d theta. Then we have the division line. We have these two. And then we have square root. Square root. 9 squared equals 81. And then secant squared of theta. So 81 secant squared of theta. And then minus 81. And then raised to 3. Okay. And I will have, again, let us copy the numerator, 9 secant theta tangent theta d theta. So 9 secant theta tangent theta d theta. And then the division line, and then we have the 2, then we have square root. Now here, 81 is a common factor. So lalabas natin yung 81. So ang natira dito ay secant squared of theta. Ang natira sa 81 ay 1. And then raised to 3. So I will have the integral sign. And then again, copy the whole numerator. So 9 secant theta tangent theta d theta. And then the division line. And then we have the 2. Now, secant squared theta minus 1 is tangent squared. So I will have square root. And then we have the 81. And then tangent squared of theta raised to 3. And then we will have, so we have the integral sign, and then 9 secant theta tangent theta d theta divided by, and then 2. And then square root of 81 is 9. And then we will have 9 raised to 3. So times 9 raised to 3. Square root of tangent squared is tangent. And then raised to 3. I will have tangent raised to 3 of theta. So here we can cancel 9. Ito naman, pwede natin cancelin ang tangent. Okay, so yung mga natira. So we have the integral sign. So ito siya. So natira dito ay secant of theta. Secant of theta. And then d theta. So divided by. So meron tayong 2. And then times. So natira dito ng 9 squared. So 9 squared. Dito naman natira tayo ng tangent squared. Okay? So tangent squared theta. So ating constant 1 divided by 2 times 9 squared. So lalabas natin yung ating constant. So 1 divided by 2 and then times 9 squared. Okay, we have the integral sign. And then we have secant of theta. So secant of theta. Now 1 divided by tangent squared is cotangent squared. So cotangent squared of theta d theta. Okay, so here, cotangent squared is cosine squared divided by sine squared. And secant theta is 1 over cosine theta. So, magkakaroon tayo ng 1 divided by 2 and then times 9 squared. Okay, we have the integral sign. So I repeat, secant theta equals sa 1 divided by cosine of theta. Cotangent squared equal naman sa cosine squared divided by sine squared theta. So cosine squared theta divided by sine squared theta. Tapos d theta. We can now cancel cosine of theta. So I will have the constant natin. So 1, no? Divided by 2 and then times 9 squared. Integral sign. And then we have natural nito ng isang cosine of theta. So cosine of theta. Tapos yung d theta. Tapos divided by. So dito naman ang natira ay sine squared. At yung sine squared equal din sa sine theta times sine of theta. Okay. Now, 1 over sine is cosecant of theta. So magkakaroon tayo ng 1 divided by 2 times 9 squared. So integral. So I repeat, 1 divided by sine is cosecant of theta. And then we have cosine divided by sine, and that is cotangent of theta. D theta. So integral of cosecant theta, cotangent of theta, d theta is now readily integrable. At ang integral ng cosecant theta, cotangent theta, ay negative cosecant of theta. So, magiging sagot natin ay negative 1 divided by 2 times 9 squared. And then, cosecant of theta. And then, plus c. Okay. So after that, yung equivalent ng cosecant of theta in terms of x ay hahanapin natin. So babalik tayo sa ating substitution. Okay, so pabalik tayo rito. So from 2x equals 9 secant of theta. So dito, pag sinolve natin yung secant theta equals 2x divided by 9. So 2x divided by 9. Secant by definition is hypotenuse divided by the adjacent side. So ito yung ating hypotenuse. Ito naman yung ating adjacent side. So I repeat, secant by definition is hypotenuse divided by the adjacent side. Kaya rin nun, let us draw the right triangle defined by this equation. So buhay tayo ng right triangle. Okay, so let us say that this is the angle theta. So secant, the hypotenuse is 2x. So ito yun. And then the adjacent side is 9. So this is the adjacent side. And then this is the opposite side with respect to angle theta. Now, by Pythagorean relation, the opposite side will be equal to the square root of the square of the hypotenuse. So 2x squared, 2x quantity squared ay equal din sa 4x squared. And then minus the square of 9. And that's 81. Oh. So, dito sa right triangle na ito, dito natin kukunin yung equivalent ng cosecant of theta in terms of x. So, yung cosecant of theta, no, cosecant of theta equals siya sa hypotenuse divided by the opposite. Oh. So, magiging equal siya sa 2x divided by the square root of 4x squared minus 81. So, square root of 4x squared minus 81. So, yan ngayon yung equivalent ng cosecant of theta na ipapalit natin sa ating sagot para sa final answer. So, magkakaroon tayo ng negative 1 divided by 2 times 9 squared. So, yung cosecant theta equals sa 2x divided by square root of 4x squared minus 81. So, times 2x divided by square root of 4x squared minus 81. And then plus c. So, we can cancel 2, no? And then, para sa final answer, meron tayong negative 1 times x ay negative x. So, divided by 9 squared equals 81. So, 81 times square root of 4x squared minus 81. Square root of 4x squared minus 81. And then, plus c. And this is now our answer. So, ating problem, integral of dx divided by 4x squared minus 81 raised to 3 halves. No? So, integral of dx, no? Integral of dx divided by 4x squared minus 81 raised to 3 halves equals negative x divided by 81 square root of 4x squared minus 81 plus c. Okay. So, ito naman yung ating solution 2 under case 3, ano? So, ating problem, integral of dx divided by 4x squared minus 81 raised to 3 over 2. So, equal siya sa integral of so dx divided by square root. So, yung 4x squared equal din siya sa 2x quantity squared. At yung minus 81 equal din siya sa 9 squared. 9 squared raised to 3. So, our u is 2x, our a is 9. So, ating substitution, u equals a secant of theta. So, let u equals a secant of theta. So, yung u natin ay yung 2x. So, 2x. Our a is 9. So, 9 secant of theta. After that, kukuha tayo ng derivative both sides. So, 2 dx equals 9. So, ang derivative of secant theta is secant theta tangent theta d theta. So, tangent theta, d theta. And then, let us solve for the dx. So, dx equals 9 over 2. Oh. And then, secant theta, tangent of theta, d theta. So, para sa dx, in terms of trigonometric function, is 9 over 2, secant theta, tangent theta, d theta. So, ang hahanapin naman natin ngayon ay yung equivalent ng trigonometric function ng square root of 4x squared minus 81. Square root of 4x squared minus 81. Okay. So, from here, no? So, kung isosolve natin dito yung secant of theta equals 2x divided by 9. So, 2x divided by 9. By definition, secant is hypotenuse divided by the adjacent side. So, ito ay hypotenuse. Ito naman yung ating adjacent side. Okay. After that, no, draw the right triangle defined by this equation. So, drawing natin yung right triangle. Okay. So, let us say that this is the angle theta. So, the hypotenuse is 2x. And then the adjacent side is 9. So, the side opposite now, with respect to angle theta, equals square root of the square of the hypotenuse, so that's 4x squared, minus the square of 9, so that's 81. Okay. So, from here, no, hanapin natin ngayon yung equivalent ng 4x squared minus 81 in terms of trigonometric function or in trigonometric function, no, using this right triangle. So, we must include the square root of 4x squared minus 81 and the 9, no, the constant 9. Okay. So, dito, opposite, this is opposite, this is adjacent side. Kaya gagamit tayo ng function na tangent of theta. So, tangent of theta is opposite divided by the adjacent side. At ang opposite natin, square root of 4x squared minus 81. Adjacent side naman natin ay 9. So, we will have 9 tangent of theta equals square root of 4x squared minus 81. So, yan ngayon yung equivalent ng 4x squared minus 81 in trigonometric function. 9 tangent of theta. Okay. So, magsasubstitute na tayo ngayon, no? So, this is equal to the integral, no? So, the dx equals siya sa 9 over 2 secant theta, tangent theta, d theta. Okay? So, 9 over 2 and then secant theta, tangent theta, d theta. Secant theta, tangent theta, d theta. And then square root of 4x squared minus 81 equals siya sa 9 tangent of theta. So, 9 tangent of theta raised to 3. So, raised to 3. Okay. So, cancel ngayon ang 9 tangent of theta. 9 tangent of theta. 9 tangent of theta. So, mga natira. So, we have the integral sign. And then we have secant of theta. Secant of theta. And then d theta. Tapos division line. And then we have 2. So 9 na-cancel natin. Tatlo siya. Kaya natiran siya ng 2. Or 9 squared. Tangent cubed. Na-cancel yung isa. Kaya matiran siya ng tangent squared. Of theta. So, ang ating constant, 1 divided by 2 times 9 squared. So, lalabas natin yung constant natin. 1 divided by 2 times 9 squared. And then we have the integral sign. Secant of theta. Now, 1 divided by tangent squared ay cotangent squared. So, cotangent squared of theta, d theta. So, let us rewrite. No? So, we have 1 divided by 2 times 9 squared. And then we have the integral sign. Now, secant of theta equals 1 over cosine of theta. So, 1 over cosine of theta. And then cotangent squared of theta equals cosine squared of theta divided by sine squared of theta. D theta. Cancel ngayon ang cosine. Oh. So, we will have 1 divided by 2 times 9 squared. So, natin na lang dito ay cosine of theta. So, cosine of theta. So, natin na dito ay sine squared of theta. At yung sine squared equals sa sine theta times sine of theta. D theta. Ngayon, yung 1 divided by sine theta equals sa cosecant of theta. So, 1 divided by 2 times 9 squared cosecant of theta. I repeat, no? 1 over sine equals cosecant. And then cosine over sine is cotangent of theta. D theta. So, yung integral of cosecant theta, cotangent theta, d theta ay readily integrable na. No? At ang integral niya ay negative cosecant theta by formula. No? So, para sa ating sagot, we'll have 1 divided by 2 times 9 squared. So, negative cosecant of theta and then plus c. Kaya rin yung cosecant theta, hanapin natin yung equivalent in terms of x. So, babalik tayo sa ating right triangle. Diyan natin siya kukunin. Ano? So, cosecant is hypotenuse divided by the opposite side. So, 2x divided by 4x squared minus 81. So, cosecant of theta equals hypotenuse 2x divided by the opposite side, square root of 4x squared minus 81. Okay, so let us now substitute the value of cosecant theta in terms of x. So we will have negative 1 divided by 2 times 9 squared. So, yung cosecant equals sa 2x divided by square root of 4x squared minus 81. So 2x divided by square root of 4x squared minus 81 and then plus c. We can cancel the 2. And then, para sa ating final answer, negative 1 times x is negative x. Divided by 9 squared is 81. And then times square root of 4x squared minus 81. 4x squared minus 81 and then plus c. So this is 81. So integral of dx, divided by 4x squared minus 81 raised to 3 halves equals negative x divided by 81 times square root of 4x squared minus 81 plus c. So, ito na yung ating final answer. Okay? So, para sa ating exercises, so ito siya, para sa topic na ito, evaluate the following integrals using trigonometric substitution. So,